Welcome back to a fresh episode of Combat and Kick It in a brand new year. Welcome to the first episode of Combat and Kick It of 2025, man. Welcome to 2025. Happy New Year to everybody. I had a huge 2024 like year in review video breaking down the knockouts, the moments, everything like that. It gave me such a hard time trying to edit and export this thing that I just said, the hell with it. After I even watched it, I was like, this video sucks. So, scratched it completely. So instead, I'm just going to come through and talk about some fun moments in 2024 and what I want to see in 2025. So let's get right into it. Let's go. So when you talk about moments of 2024 for UFC, right, there was plenty of fun, enjoyable moments, right? We had the whole entire card of UFC 300. You had the enjoyment to get to see something that was one of a kind like the UFC Sphere. You had the enjoyment of waking up at 6 in the morning. If you did, you got up early and you watched that Petr Yan versus Davison Figueiredo card, and you got the pleasure of witnessing one of the best cards of the year. And then that December card, that random last of the year card, was phenomenal, right? So we had a lot of great moments in 2024. We had a lot of dope knockouts. We had some title changes. We had some pound for pound changes. We had a lot going down in 2024. The top moments, in my opinion, you know, not even top moments, but like you could talk about top KOs. The biggest moments that happened in 2024. One of the biggest moments was Ilia Topuria knocking out Alexander Volkanovski. Now, that makes the list automatically because, I mean, it's Volk. No one wanted to see Volk lose. No one wanted to see Volk lose that way again after coming off of a knockout loss already. And then Ilia Topuria being the guy to call his shot, saying he was going to do it, and he gets the finish on Alexander Volkanovski. That's one of the top moments of 2024. There's no doubt about it. You know, and then you fast forward. Now this man has one of the dopest back-to-backs, like in the beginning of a champion's run ever. I mean, getting the win and taking the belt from Alexander Volkanovski, and then going on to defend it and getting a finish over Max Holloway is absolutely huge, right? Now, he's talking about moving up to 155, and we'll talk about that in the second half of this video when we get to breaking down 2025. But he made a lot of statements this year. Ilia made a lot of statements. He was neck and neck with Alex Pereira for Fighter of the Year, but his moments automatically were some of the top moments of 2024, and they're gonna shine for a very long time. And if he continues on this path, I mean, it's just gonna continue. You can only go up from here. I mean, you beat Volk and Max. Everybody else should be basically easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you beat the two toughest challenges in that division. Everybody else should be easy, you know? So even though Max Holloway was on the shitty end of one of the dopest moments, he was also on the great end of one of the dopest moments with the BMF knockout, right? We all know it. I've talked about it a million times. I don't have to get deep into it. It was a phenomenal knockout, extremely dope knockout, and you know, it wasn't anything that anyone could have expected, and it was on the perfect card for it to be done. So, you know, Max Holloway had a huge moment there. You talk about moments, you got to bring in moments of Alex Pereira. 3 different times he defended that title and 3 different finishes he got. And dude just looks so dominant in there. He looks so scary in there. He looks like he is going to be a force that is unstoppable. So we definitely got to bring him into the conversation of what I want to see in 2025. So that'd be coming as well. What other moments were dope? Let's see if I got anything on this list. You know what was dope to me? Real shit, what was dope to me was Dominic Reyes getting his wins, right? I wanted Dominic Reyes to bounce back so badly. You talk about a guy who took John Jones 5, and a lot of people argued that he even won that fight, which he may have won that fight. I bet you if you go back and watch that fight right now, you will say, damn, Dominic Reyes might have won that fight. Then you'll watch it again and say, I don't know, John Jones maybe won that fight. And then you watch it again and you'll say Dominic Reyes won that fight. That's just how it is. But when you talk about a guy getting that close to beating arguably the GOAT, and then he goes on this downfall, you don't want to see that. That's unfortunate to see, right? Everybody expected him to become champion after taking John Jones 5, right? He goes to fight Jan Blachowicz, gets whooped up by Jan Blachowicz. We really didn't expect that. Dom Reyes was the favorite going into that fight. Ends up losing to Jan Blachowicz. Then fast forward, he goes to fight Yuri Petroska, gets viciously knocked out by Yuri Petroska, and then gets viciously knocked out by Ryan Spann. It was getting tough for Dominic Reyes there, but the 2-year layoff may have helped him, got him recovered, came back good, got the win over Dustin Jacoby, and then ends up getting a finish over Anthony Smith to end the year. I mean, Dominic Reyes, he is the moment. I had to put him in here because it's hard to not talk about that guy, man. It's really unfortunate downfall he had, but it's great to see him being able to bounce back. Tom Aspinall's KO over Curtis Blades. That was a dope moment. Be honest with you, John Jones finishing Stipe, even though like I don't find the Stipe win itself that impressive, seeing Stipe came off of a 4-year layoff and stuff like that. I don't see the craziest, like, oh my gosh, that was so amazing. He's untouchable. John Jones, the most amazing guy ever. It's not even that. But the way he got the finish was dope. So, you know what I mean? Like, I can't deny the fact that it was a dope-ass finish. You know, even if I didn't want to see John win, that would have been a dope-ass finish if anybody got it. So that definitely made the list. Talk about another dope moments. Vinicius Oliveira's KO over Bernardo. So, what's his name? Bernardo Sopaj. Either way, the knockout was one of the nastiest knockouts I think I've ever seen in my life. It was disgusting. He just blitzed him at the end with the flying knee, and I've never seen somebody's body shut off like that. Actually, I lied. James Vick in Karate Combat. If you've seen that kick, that shit is nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. Watch. Ooh. Slept. But, you know, I could go on for hours talking about the top moments of 2024. Dustin Poirier coming back and beating Benoit Saint Denis. Dustin Poirier bringing the fight to Islam Makhachev, putting on a fight of the night performance, you know, always does. You know, there's so many different moments. Charles Oliveira getting the win over Michael Chandler. Yes, it's going to be the moment because that's my boy. I'm a little biased. I don't care. Fuck you. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But either way, Hamzat's choke, fucking dope. You can't deny that one. You really can't. You've never seen somebody's face get broken like that, and he literally broke Rob Whittaker's face. Good luck to anybody in this middleweight division that has to fight Hamzat by the end of the year. I promise you, this is one of my predictions, and you know what? We're going to take this, and we're just going to lead into the 2025 thing. One of my main predictions is Dricus beats Sean, Hamzat beats Dricus. Hamzat will end 2025 as the UFC middleweight champion. Now, if Sean does beat Dricus, you are going to watch the avoid game with Sean and Hamzat. He is going to avoid that as much as he can until that fight does get announced. But I guarantee you Sean is not going to want to take that fight. Either way, my prediction is Hamzat Chimaev is going to be holding the belt by the end of the year. Right? That's one of the main things I got a feeling on. Another feeling I got in the welterweight division, I got a feeling that Jack Della Maddalena is going to be the guy holding the belt by the end of the year. He is one of the guys that we kind of, you know what? We look at Shavkat as such a dog, right? And then you watch him in that fight against Ian Gary, and you're like, damn, Ian Gary got his back. If Ian Gary got his back, then Bilal's going to be able to get his back more than likely, right? So I can see Bilal getting past Shavkat, who's supposed to be the boogeyman. Next up would maybe be Ian Gary, right? We'll see if that's the case. But you got Jack Della Maddalena and Leon Edwards, they just announced. Looks like that is targeted for London. And if that happens, I complain about Leon's finishing rate all the time because it should be a 90-something% finish rate, but instead he just doesn't like to get finishes, it seems like, and it fucking pisses me off. Like, bro, just get going. You'd get finishes. But either way, if he is gun shy at all against Jack Della Maddalena, I see Jack getting that finish in front of the UK crowd. And then there is no denying that man a title shot after that. You kind of have to give it to him. The welterweight division is not that exciting right now. We all know why. Look, I'm not hating on Bilal. But the thing about Bilal is he's boring. You gonna argue that? You can't even argue that. I know you're not gonna argue that because it's the truth. If you were to argue with Bilal Muhammad, the argument would go to decision. He'd win a split. Let's see. What else do I want to see in 2025? What I really want to see in 2025 is more Carlos Prates. I'm being honest. I want to see more Carlos Prates. I want to see him take 3 more fights this year. I want to see him be active as shit, doing the same thing, knocking all these guys out. Like I said, the welterweight division needs some life, and that man is another breath of fresh air. I do also see one thing in 2025 happening, and I can't predict the division, but I have a feeling an underdog, somebody who was not supposed to be there, is going to be champion by the end of the year, right? Somebody who wasn't even not like we had a champion versus ranked number 3, ranked number 2. No, I'm talking about champ versus ranked like number 8. Wasn't supposed to be in that fight and ends up becoming the champion. I have a feeling something like that is going to happen this year. I don't know if that's true, but it's very possible. Obviously, we're talking about what we want in 2025. John Jones and Tom Aspinall. Let's unify the belts. Let's make the biggest fight in UFC heavyweight history, and let's get it cracking. Everybody wants to see it. There's really no other fight that people have been pushing for as hard as this in recent years. I don't remember a fight that people really pushed as hard as this. So get that going. Stack that card out, and that should definitely be a main focus for International Fight Week for 2025. I don't see any other option. What else would you do? That is your option. That is your go-to right there. That is what you need. That's what the fans want. Simple as that. Another thing I want to see in 2025 is some sort of rivalry, some sort of something brewed up between 2 guys who genuinely dislike each other, and it's the start of some sort of legendary style trilogy. Like, that's what I want. I want to see one of those too. Like, I feel like we haven't had something that big. Obviously, Alex and Izzy was huge, but they didn't continue on the UFC path. They went 1-1. So, they could have kept going, but obviously they didn't want to keep going, right? They went different paths, rightfully so. Israel Adesanya. He's definitely somebody I want to see back in the win column in 2025. And my reasoning for that is because, one, he is an exciting fighter. He does bring excitement to the sport when he's here. But the thing about it is, a guy like Izzy's made so much money, right? He doesn't need to keep winning. So if he does end up losing, I can see the gloves being laid down in the middle of the octagon and him walking off. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. I still think there's a lot of fight left in Izzy. I think there's a lot of interesting fights we can see in the middleweight division with Izzy. Possibly Izzy going up to light heavyweight to end his career type of thing. There's a lot of options and potential for that man. And he's got a really tough fight in front of him with Nasruddin Imavov. But overall, I think he can get this done. He can get this win and put himself back in title contention. So that's something I actually want to see in 2025, because he puts on interesting fights. He brings interest to a very lackluster division as well. So you kind of, I know a lot of people hate him, but unfortunately you kind of need him in that division. I mean, Dricus does bring some heat though. Dricus does not play. He talks some shit. You go at Dricus on Twitter, he's coming back at you hard, and you don't want to play no games with Dricus. He's throwing shots at people. He threw shots at some kid. He was calling him fat. The kid didn't even have a profile picture. He was just cooking him. He's ready at all times. So Dricus is trying to bring some excitement. Sean, to me, doesn't bring excitement because I think his spark went out. You know what I mean? I think his spark went out a little bit. That's just my opinion. That's just how I feel. I think Sean's spark went out a little bit. Let's see. Let's move on. What else do I want to see in 2025? So there was a rumor, a slight kind of hint drop by Paddy Pimblett saying "see you at the top" in one of his videos. So a lot of people think him and Michael Chandler are going to be squaring off. So give me that fight in 2025. Give me another scrap, a real scrap. You know it's going to be bloody. Dan Hooker versus Justin Gaethje. I heard that was rumored. Give me that. I'll take that. I have a feeling 2025 is going to be Dustin Poirier's last fight. Whoever it may be, I have no idea who he could possibly... I don't know who he could fight. I mean, I really don't know who there is to fight in the division, what fight he's going to put on. But he's got one fight left, and I think 2025 we're going to see the last of Dustin Poirier. It wasn't rumored. It was actually announced. Rob Font and Dominic Cruz is happening. Henry Cejudo and Song Yadong is happening. So some good fights in the bantamweight division. The bantamweight division might be getting shaken up on this first pay-per-view upcoming here. So we got a lot to talk about. We are in 2025. It is a blessing to be here, and I promise you the content is going to be legit this year. We're going to continue putting stuff out, and I'm trying to get to some shows this year. That's what I got to do. That is the main goal, is to get to some shows this year, do a little vlog session at one of the shows. But either way, if you have been following me, rocking with me since I started this, I appreciate you. We are just getting started. You know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episode is out. The next episode, I have the UFC 311 breakdown, and I'm also coming to you with a thorough breakdown of each fighter in the main event. One episode for Islam, one episode for Arman Sarukian. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that damn bell notification button so you know when the next episode is out, because I promise you, you won't want to miss it. I'll catch you on the next episode. Your boy Bando's out.